Deep space was quiet around the human cargo ship Horizon Dawn. The ship moved slowly through a cold trade route near the outer mining colonies. It was not a warship. It had no heavy weapons, no fighter escorts, no military crew. It carried food crates, machine parts, medical supplies, and basic tools for distant settlements. Inside were only 12 human crew members. Engineers, loaders, a medic, a navigator, regular people doing a regular job. Captain Elena Cross stood on the bridge, watching the calm blue lights of the control panels. Everything was normal. Engines steady, cargo secure, route clear. It was supposed to be an easy journey. Then the first alarm screamed. The sound was sharp and loud, breaking the silence like glass. Red lights flashed across the bridge. The navigator looked at the radar screen and froze. 3 unknown ships had just appeared from warp space behind them. They were fast, too fast. They had dark metal bodies shaped like blades, with no visible lights except small red eyes glowing at the front. Unidentified vessels detected, the ship computer said in a cold voice. Captain Elena's eyes became serious. Open channel, she ordered. There was only static. No response. Then, without warning, bright beams of energy shot from the pirate ships. The first blast hit Horizon Dawn's engine shields. The entire ship shook. Crew members in the hallway grabbed the walls to stay standing. Another blast hit the communications array. Sparks flew in the control room. Smoke rose from a broken panel. "They are not warning us," the navigator whispered. "They are pirates." The word hung heavy in the air. Space pirates were known across the outer systems. They attacked small trade ships. They took cargo. Sometimes they took prisoners. No one expected them here. Not this deep. Engine power down to 40%. The engineer reported over the comm they hit our thrusters. Captain Elena stayed calm. Send distress signal. The communications officer tried, but the panel was dead. Another pirate blast struck the hull. This time the lights flickered. Somewhere deep inside the ship, metal groaned. The pirate ships moved closer, circling like wolves around injured prey. On one of those dark ships, the pirate captain watched the human freighter on a screen. He was tall, with gray skin and heavy armor plates across his shoulders. A scar ran across his left eye. He smiled slowly. "Humans," he said in a low voice. "Always traveling alone. Always unprotected." His crew laughed. They had raided many ships before. Most species feared them. Most surrendered quickly. Humans were traitors. Weak. Soft. Easy money. "Disable their weapons," the pirate captain ordered. "Then prepare boarding team." A final energy blast struck Horizon Dawn's defense turrets. The small guns went silent. The ship was now floating with weak engines and no weapons. On the bridge, Captain Elena looked at her crew. No one spoke. No one cried. They had trained for this moment, though no one outside the ship knew that. "Phase 1, she said quietly. Across the ship, crew members moved quickly. Cargo bay lights were turned off. Hallway lights dimmed. Doors were sealed in certain sections. Tools were removed from storage racks. Heavy metal pipes, repair hammers, magnetic boots. They did not look like weapons. But in the right hand, they could be. Outside, a loud metal sound echoed through the hull. The pirates had attached their boarding clamps. The sound of drilling followed. Sparks burned through the outer airlock door. The pirates were cutting their way inside. On the pirate ship, the captain stood near the docking tunnel. His soldiers wore heavy combat armor and carried long plasma rifles. "Remember," he told them, "keep damage low. The cargo is worth more than the crew." The soldiers nodded. They expected scared humans. Maybe a few guards with weak pistols. Nothing serious. The airlock door on Horizon Dawn exploded inward with a loud bang. Smoke filled the entrance hall. Pirate Boots stepped inside. The hallway was dark. Quiet. Too quiet. One pirate laughed. "They are hiding," he said. His helmet lights turned on, cutting thin white lines through the darkness. The hallway was narrow. Metal walls. Low ceiling. Crates stacked along the sides. No movement. The pirate captain entered last, holding his energy blade at his side. "Spread out," he ordered. The pirates moved forward slowly. Their heavy boots made loud steps on the metal floor. Then suddenly the hallway lights went completely black. Even the emergency lights shut off. Total darkness. The pirate's helmet lights flickered. For 1 second, there was silence. Then something moved in the dark. A loud metal crash echoed through the hallway. One pirate screamed. His helmet light spun wildly before smashing against the wall. Another pirate fired his plasma rifle, but the bright shot hit only empty air and burned a hole in the ceiling. A shadow moved fast between them. A human figure struck from the side, using a heavy pipe. The sound of metal hitting armor rang through the hallway. Another pirate fell. "Ambush!" someone shouted. But the hallway was too tight. Too close. Their long rifles were hard to aim. The humans did not fire guns. They came from the dark. Fast. Silent. Hitting hard and disappearing again. The pirate captain stepped back, surprised. This was not normal. This was not fear. He heard another scream from his men. Then the sound of something heavy hitting the floor. In the darkness, a human voice spoke calmly. "Welcome aboard." The pirate captain felt something new for the first time in many raids. Not anger, not excitement. It was doubt. He had boarded many ships before. He had seen many species beg for mercy. But this time the humans were not begging. They were hunting, and the boarding had only just begun. The hallway of Horizon Dawn was filled with darkness, smoke, and the sound of heavy breathing. The first pirate squad had entered with confidence. Now 2 of them were already on the floor, not moving. Their armor was strong, but the narrow space made it hard to defend. The pirate captain growled in anger. "Form a line. Use shoulder lights," he ordered. The remaining pirates activated stronger lights on their helmets. Thin beams cut through the dark corridor, showing metal walls, scattered tools, and one fallen pirate with a cracked visor. There was no sign of the humans. That made it worse. The silence felt heavy. One pirate stepped forward carefully, his plasma rifle raised. His armor scraped against the wall because the hallway was too tight. Suddenly, a loud bang echoed behind them. The last pirate in line screamed as something pulled him into a side maintenance door. The door slammed shut. The scream stopped. The captain rushed back and tried to force the door open, but it was locked from inside. "They're using the ship against us," one pirate said nervously. The captain's jaw tightened. He did not like this. He had expected fear, not strategy. "Keep moving," he ordered. "Clear the corridor." They moved slowly now, backs almost touching the walls. Every step felt dangerous. Every shadow looked alive. Far above them, inside the ship's control system, a human engineer named Malik watched the internal cameras. He had cut most of the lights, leaving only small hidden cameras active. He spoke quietly into his comm unit. "They are moving to Section B." Captain Elena's voice answered calmly. "Good. Close Section C doors. Separate them." In front of the pirates, a heavy steel door suddenly dropped from the ceiling, cutting the squad into 2 groups. 3 pirates were trapped on one side. 2 were left behind with the captain. "Blast it open," the captain shouted. The pirates fired at the door, but the strong cargo doors were built to survive space pressure. Their shots only left glowing marks. Then something rolled across the floor near their feet. A small metal cylinder. Before they could react, it exploded with white smoke. Not a bomb. A fire extinguisher filled with thick chemical foam. The foam covered their helmet lights. Their vision turned white. Confused and half blind, one pirate removed his helmet to clear it. That was his mistake. From above, a human dropped from a ceiling panel and hit him hard with a wrench. The pirate fell without a sound. The captain roared in rage and swung his energy blade wildly, but he hit only empty air. The humans never stayed long enough to fight face to face. They struck and disappeared. On the other side of the locked door, the 3 trapped pirates were trying to contact their ship. "Captain, we need backup," one shouted into his comm device. But the signal was blocked. Malik had jammed internal communications. They were alone. Suddenly, the gravity inside that section shifted. The floor tilted sideways. The pirates lost balance and slammed into the wall. Tools and cargo boxes that were loosely secured fell toward them. One heavy crate hit a pirate in the chest, knocking him down. Before he could stand, 2 humans rushed from opposite sides and attacked quickly with metal bars. Short hits, fast movements. Then they stepped back into the dark again. The pirates were stronger in open space. Their armor was built for battlefield combat. But here, inside tight metal walls and narrow corridors, their size became a problem. They could not turn easily. They could not aim properly. Every movement felt slow. The pirate captain finally cut through the steel door with his energy blade. Sparks flew as melted metal dropped to the floor. When he stepped into the next section, he saw 2 more of his soldiers down. Only one remained standing, breathing hard and shaking. "They fight like wild animals," the soldier said. "No," the captain replied slowly, looking around the dark hallway. "They fight like they planned this." Somewhere deeper inside the ship, Captain Elena moved through a side corridor with 2 crew members. She held a simple shock baton in her hand. Her face showed no fear. "Report," she said quietly. Malik answered through the comm, 5 pirates down. 1 injured badly. They're splitting up. Elena nodded. "Good. Keep isolating them." Back in the corridor, the last standing pirate from the first squad heard a soft noise behind him. He turned quickly and fired his rifle. The bright plasma shot lit up the hallway for 1 second. In that flash of light, he saw human faces watching him from different openings in the walls. Calm eyes, focused expressions. Then the lights went out again. Something hit his legs from behind. He fell. A heavy boot pressed on his chest, holding him down. He tried to grab his blade, but a strong hand twisted his wrist and forced the weapon away. The pirate captain arrived just in time to see his last soldier lose consciousness. He stood alone now in the corridor. Around him were signs of struggle. Burn marks on walls, dents in metal panels, fallen bodies of his own crew. He had boarded dozens of ships in his life. He had never lost a full squad so quickly. The silence returned again, but this time it did not feel empty. It felt controlled, like the humans were watching every breath he took. From somewhere in the darkness, a human voice spoke again, calm and steady. "You should not have boarded." The captain tightened his grip on his blade. For the first time in many years, he understood something important. This was not a simple cargo ship. This was a trap made of metal corridors and patient hunters. And deeper inside Horizon Dawn, more humans were waiting. The pirate captain stood alone in the damaged corridor of Horizon Dawn. Around him lay the bodies of his soldiers. The metal walls were scratched and burned. The air smelled of smoke and melted wiring. His breathing was slow but heavy. His armor was strong, his blade sharp, but the narrow hallway felt smaller now. It no longer felt like a place to conquer. It felt like a cage. He touched the communicator inside his helmet. "Second squad," he said in a low voice, "enter the ship. Full combat mode." On the pirate vessel outside, another group of armed raiders prepared to board. These pirates were bigger and carried heavier weapons. They did not laugh like the first squad. They had heard the screams through broken signals. They moved carefully through the docking tunnel and stepped inside the airlock. The captain walked forward to meet them. "Stay close," he ordered. "Humans are using the structure of a ship. Watch the walls. Watch the ceiling." The new squad moved in tight formation. Their boots echoed against the metal floor. This time, the hallway lights suddenly turned on. Bright white light filled the corridor. The pirates paused, confused. The silence was still there, but now everything was visible. Empty walls, closed doors, no humans in sight. "They are changing tactics," one pirate whispered. The captain nodded slowly. "They want us to move deeper." On the bridge, Captain Elena watched the internal map. She could see the pirates moving step by step into the center of the ship. She pressed the control panel. "Seal cargo bay 2, she ordered. Far inside the ship, heavy blast doors closed behind the pirates with a loud metallic crash. The raiders turned quickly and fired at the door, but it was too thick. They were cut off from the docking area. "We are trapped inside," one pirate said. "No," the captain replied firmly. "We are advancing." But even he felt the pressure now. The humans were not attacking blindly. They were guiding them somewhere. In another section of the ship, Malik worked quickly at his console. Sweat ran down his face, but his hands were steady. He rerouted power from non-essential systems and redirected it to internal controls. Gravity panels flickered as he tested them. He spoke softly into the comm. "Captain, gravity control is ready in Sector D." "Good," Elena answered. "Wait for my signal." Back in the corridor, the pirates reached a large, open cargo chamber. Tall stacks of metal containers filled the room. The ceiling was high, with metal walkways crossing above. It looked empty. Too empty. The pirate captain raised his hand. His squad spread out slowly between the cargo stacks. Their helmet lights scanned every corner. Suddenly, the doors behind them slammed shut again. At the same time, the lights inside the cargo bay went dark. Total blackness covered the room. Then gravity shifted. The floor tilted at a sharp angle. The pirates lost balance and slid across the metal surface. Some crashed into cargo crates. Others fired their weapons by mistake, sending plasma shots into the ceiling. Sparks rained down. Then gravity shut off completely. The pirates began to float. Their heavy armor made them spin slowly in the air. Weapons drifted out of their hands. One pirate tried to grab a crate, but a human boot pushed him away. Shapes moved silently between the floating containers. Humans wearing magnetic boots walked along the walls and ceiling like hunters in space. They did not shout. They did not rush. They moved with calm purpose. One pirate was pulled into the shadows behind a crate. Another felt a hard strike against his helmet and spun out of control. The pirate captain activated his suit stabilizers and forced himself toward a control panel on his wrist. "Magnetic anchors," he shouted. The pirates activated emergency anchors in their boots and slammed back down onto the tilted floor as gravity returned suddenly. The humans disappeared again into hidden panels above. The lights flickered back on. 3 more pirates were down. The captain looked around in anger. "Show yourself," he roared. His voice echoed through the cargo bay. From a speaker somewhere in the room, Captain Elena's calm voice answered. "You wanted our cargo. Now you are inside it." The pirate captain's eyes burned with rage. He signaled 2 remaining soldiers to guard the door while he moved forward. But the humans had already changed positions. A loud crash came from behind. One guarding pirate fell as a heavy crate swung down from a cable and hit him directly. The final soldier fired wildly, but human engineers slid under his aim and struck his legs with a metal rod. He collapsed with a shout. Within minutes, the second squad was reduced to only the captain and 1 wounded soldier. The wounded pirate leaned against a crate, struggling to breathe. "Captain," he said weakly, "we underestimated them." The captain did not respond. He knew it was true. These humans were not fighting with advanced weapons. They were using simple tools, simple tricks, and their deep knowledge of the ship. Every corridor, every gravity panel, every door was a weapon in their hands. The captain helped his wounded soldier stand. "We regroup," he said quietly. "We find their leader." High above, hidden on a walkway, Elena watched him through a small camera drone. Her face showed no fear, only focus. "He is learning," she said softly. "Good. Let him come deeper." The pirate captain slowly guided his last soldier out of the cargo bay and into another corridor. This hallway was even narrower than the first. Pipes ran along the walls. Steam hissed from vents. It felt hot and tight. The captain realized something important. The humans were not trying to push them back to the docking port. They were pulling them inward, step by step, like prey walking into a hunter's trap. He tightened his grip on his blade again. This time, he did not feel only anger. He felt respect. These humans were traitors, yes, but they were also patient fighters. And somewhere inside this metal maze, their leader was waiting for him. The narrow corridor was filled with the sound of steam and distant metal clicks. The pirate captain walked slowly, supporting his wounded soldier. The air felt hotter here, heavier. Pipes ran along both sides of the walls, carrying fuel and coolant through the ship. The captain understood something important now. The humans were not running. They were leading him. Every step he took was chosen by them. Every door that opened was opened on purpose. He stopped and looked at the ceiling. "They are watching," he said quietly. The wounded pirate nodded weakly. "Captain, we should fall back." The captain's eyes hardened. "No, we finish this." Far ahead in the ship, inside a secure control room, Captain Elena Cross stood in front of a large digital map of Horizon Dawn. The ship layout glowed in blue lines. Small red dots marked the pirate captain and his last soldier. Elena's face was calm, her brown eyes focused. She was not wearing heavy armor, only a dark utility suit with magnetic boots and a small shock baton at her side. Around her stood 4 crew members: an engineer, a medic, a loader, and a navigator. None of them were soldiers, but all of them looked ready. Phase 3, Elena said quietly. Malik, sitting at the control console, nodded. Engine section sealed. Ventilation rerouted. Elena looked at her crew. Remember your training. Short strikes. Stay together. No hero moves. The crew nodded. Months before this journey, Elena had prepared them. She had studied pirate attack patterns across the outer systems. Cargo ships were easy targets. Small crews. Low defense. Pirates believed humans were soft traders. Elena decided to use that belief as a weapon. She trained her crew in close-quarters defense. Not military combat, but survival fighting. Using tools. Using the ship. Using teamwork. Now that training was being tested. Back in the corridor, warning lights suddenly turned yellow. A loud mechanical sound echoed as thick metal doors slammed shut behind the pirate captain. He spun around, but it was too late. The passage back was sealed. Only one path remained forward. The wounded pirate looked scared now. They're trapping us. The captain's voice was low. Let them. He pushed forward into the next section. This corridor was darker. Emergency red lights glowed faintly along the floor. The space was tight, forcing them to walk single file. Steam burst suddenly from a side pipe, blocking vision. Through the steam, shadows moved. The wounded pirate raised his rifle, but a metal hook shot from his side and pulled the weapon from his hands. A human rushed in and struck his helmet with a heavy wrench. The wounded pirate fell to the floor, unconscious. The captain swung his energy blade, but hit only steam. When the mist cleared, he stood alone again. This time, there were no screams. No rushing footsteps. Only silence. He realized something. The humans were separating him from his men on purpose. They wanted him alone. He stepped forward carefully and entered the engine control chamber. It was a wide circular room filled with glowing blue reactors in the center. Metal walkways surrounded the core. The light from the reactor cast long shadows across the walls. Captain Elena stepped out from one of those shadows. She stood across from him on the metal platform. Calm, steady, watching him. The pirate captain studied her. She looked small compared to him. No heavy armor. No large weapon. Just quiet confidence. You're their leader, he said. Elena nodded once. Yes. You fight like soldiers, he said. But this is a cargo ship. Yes, she replied again. And you believe that meant we would surrender. The pirate captain's grip tightened on his blade. Humans are traders. Builders. Not warriors. Elena's eyes did not move. Humans are survivors. For a moment, they stood in silence, the low hum of the engine core vibrating through the floor. The pirate captain slowly walked in a circle, keeping his eyes on her. You planned this, he said. You knew we would attack. Pirates always attack isolated cargo ships, she replied calmly. We studied your patterns. The captain felt something he rarely felt. Respect. But respect did not remove his anger. With a sudden roar, he charged forward, swinging his glowing blade. Elena moved quickly to the side, her magnetic boots holding her firmly to the floor. His blade struck the metal railing, sending sparks into the air. She hit his armored shoulder with her shock baton. Electricity flashed, but his armor absorbed most of it. He turned and swung again. She ducked under the strike and rolled behind a reactor pillar. The fight was fast and close. No guns, no distance, just movement and timing. The pirate captain was stronger. Each swing of his blade could cut through steel. But the platform was narrow. The reactor core behind them hummed louder as Malik increased its power slightly from the control room. The floor vibrated. Elena jumped onto a higher walkway, forcing the captain to follow. As he climbed, a loud warning siren filled the chamber. The temperature began to rise. What are you doing? the captain shouted. Elena's voice echoed from above, showing you why boarding a human ship is a mistake. Suddenly, the gravity in the chamber flickered. For a brief second, everything felt weightless. The captain's heavy armor pulled him slightly off balance. Elena used that moment. She kicked the control lever beside her. A section of the platform behind the captain opened suddenly. He stepped back to avoid falling, but now he was standing dangerously close to the edge of an open maintenance shaft that led deep toward the engine core. The heat rising from below was intense. He looked at her with anger, but also understanding. She had not tried to overpower him. She had used the ship, used space, used timing. Elena stood firm across from him. You came for cargo, she said calmly. But inside human ships, even the walls fight back. The pirate captain realized the truth fully now. Humans were not the weakest species in close combat. In tight spaces, in metal corridors, in controlled environments, they were something else entirely. And this fight was not over yet. The engine chamber was filled with heat and red warning lights. The open maintenance shaft behind the pirate captain glowed with blue fire from the reactor core below. The metal floor vibrated under their feet. Captain Elena stood across from him on the narrow platform, her shock baton still active in her hand. The pirate captain slowly stepped away from the open shaft, careful not to lose balance. His eyes never left her. You fight with tricks, he said in a low voice. Elena answered calmly. We fight to survive. Without another word, he charged again. His energy blade cut through the air with a loud hiss. Elena blocked with her baton, but the force pushed her backward. Sparks flew as the weapons touched. The platform was too narrow for wide swings. Every movement had to be exact. The pirate was stronger, but the space limited his power. Elena stepped sideways, forcing him to turn sharply. His heavy armor made quick turns difficult. She struck his side again with the baton. This time electricity ran through a weak joint in his armor. He growled in pain, but did not fall. Below them, Malik watched the reactor levels carefully. He spoke into the comm. Captain, heat rising. You have 2 minutes before automatic shutdown. That is enough, Elena replied quietly. The pirate captain suddenly grabbed a loose pipe from the wall and threw at her. She ducked, but the pipe hit a control panel. The lights flickered harder. The gravity inside the chamber shifted slightly again. Both of them felt the floor pull sideways for a second. The pirate tried to use the moment to push her toward the edge, but she moved low and fast, sliding under his arm. She kicked the back of his knee. His balance broke for a second, and his blade cut into the railing instead of her. The sound of metal breaking echoed through the room. At the same time, in another part of the ship, 2 remaining human crew members were fighting the last group of pirates who had entered through a secondary hatch. These pirates had split from the main squads earlier and were now trying to reach the engine core from another path. The corridor was narrow and filled with storage lockers. The humans used the environment again. One human threw a heavy toolbox at a pirate's legs. Another slammed a locker door into a pirate's helmet. The fight was close and fast. No long speeches. No fear. Only short breathing and sharp strikes. A pirate tried to fire his plasma rifle, but the shot hit a pipe, releasing thick steam that blocked vision. In that confusion, a human struck his helmet from behind. One by one, the pirates fell. Back in the engine chamber, the pirate captain pushed forward again. He roared and swung his blade in a strong downward strike. Elena barely blocked it. The impact forced her to one knee. The blade cut into the floor beside her. For a moment, the pirate believed he had won. He lifted the blade again, but Elena grabbed a small control switch near her knee and pressed it. The gravity inside the chamber shut off completely. Both of them lifted from the floor. The pirate captain's heavy armor made him spin slowly in the air. His blade drifted away from his hand as his grip loosened. Elena's magnetic boots were off now, but she had prepared for this. She grabbed a hanging support cable and pulled herself toward him. In zero gravity, strength meant less. Control and direction meant more. She pushed off the wall and slammed into his chest. The shock baton hit the same weak joint in his armor again. Electricity flashed brighter this time. The pirate let out a loud cry as his body shook. The gravity returned suddenly. Both of them crashed back onto the metal floor. The pirate captain hit harder because of his heavy armor. Elena rolled to the side and stood up quickly. The captain tried to rise, but his movements were slower now. Smoke came from a damaged section of his armor. His breathing was louder. He looked at her, not with anger now, but with understanding. "Humans," he said slowly, "are not weak." Elena did not answer with words. She stepped closer, ready to end it. But suddenly an alarm sounded from Malik's console. "Captain, pirate ship powering weapons." Malik shouted through the comm outside. The pirate vessel had seen that their boarding squads were not returning. The second-in-command had decided to destroy Horizon Dawn completely rather than lose face. A large energy cannon on the pirate ship began to charge. Elena looked at the pirate captain. He understood immediately. If the pirate ship fired, everyone inside Horizon Dawn would die, including him. For the first time, they shared the same danger. The pirate captain gave a short laugh, even in pain. "Seems my crew has no patience." Elena's eyes hardened. "Then we finish this now." He tried to stand again, but his damaged armor failed. He dropped to one knee. Elena stepped behind him and used a magnetic restraint cable from the wall. She locked his arms tightly. He struggled for a moment, then stopped. The reactor hum became steady again as Malik stabilized the system. "Captain, weapon charge at 70%, Malik warned. Elena spoke calmly. "Prepare engine burst." The pirate captain looked at her with surprise. "Your engines are damaged." "Not completely," she replied. Malik redirected all remaining power into the thrusters. Horizon Dawn shook violently as the engines roared to life for a short, powerful burst. Outside, the pirate ship's aim shifted slightly due to the sudden movement. The charged cannon fired, but the beam missed the engine core and only scraped the outer hull. The blast lit up space with bright blue light, but Horizon Dawn survived. Inside the engine chamber, the pirate captain felt the vibration and understood that the fight had changed. His boarding mission had failed. His ship had missed. And now he was captured inside the very cargo vessel he thought was weak. Elena stood over him, breathing hard but steady. Around them, warning lights slowly returned to normal. The brutal close combat was almost over, but the battle for survival was not yet finished. The engine chamber slowly became quiet again, but the danger was not over. The pirate captain was on his knees, his arms locked behind him with a magnetic restraint cable. Smoke still rose from the damaged parts of his armor. Captain Elena stood in front of him, breathing hard but steady. The reactor core behind them glowed blue, humming with unstable power. Over the comm system, Malik's voice came quickly. "Captain, the pirate ship is turning around. They are charging weapons again." Elena looked up at one of the ceiling cameras. "How long?" "Less than 3 minutes," Malik answered. The pirate captain gave a low laugh. "They will not leave without revenge." Elena stepped closer to him. "Then we give them something else to think about." She turned toward the exit. "Secure him and bring him to control." She ordered 2 crew members who had just entered the chamber. They quickly took hold of the restrained pirate captain and pulled him to his feet. Even injured, he was heavy and strong. It took effort to move him. The ship shook again as another distant blast scraped the outer shields. Warning alarms filled the corridors. In the main control room, Malik worked fast, typing commands into the system. The hull integrity display flashed yellow. "Shields at 30%, he said. "We cannot take another direct hit." Elena entered the control room with the captured pirate captain behind her. She pushed him into a heavy metal chair and locked the restraints to the floor. He did not resist. He watched her carefully. "Your ship cannot outrun ours," he said calmly. "You are damaged." Elena did not answer him directly. Instead, she looked at Malik. "Docking clamps." Malik smiled slightly. "Still connected to their boarding tunnel." The pirate captain's eyes narrowed. He understood what she was thinking. "You would not dare," he said quietly. Elena finally looked at him. "You boarded us. Now you stay connected." Outside in space, the pirate ship moved into position for another shot. Its main cannon glowed bright as energy gathered at the front. But the boarding tunnel was still attached to Horizon Dawn. The pirates had not detached it after sending in their squads. Elena gave the order. Reverse thrusters. Maximum short burst. The damaged engines roared loudly again. The entire cargo ship shook as it forced itself sideways. Because the docking tunnel was still locked in place, the pirate ship was pulled slightly off balance. The glowing cannon beam fired at that exact moment. The shot missed Horizon Dawn and instead tore through one of the pirate ship's own side engines. A bright explosion lit up the darkness of space. Inside the control room, everyone felt the shockwave. Malik stared at the screen. "Direct hit on their engine," he shouted. The pirate captain closed his eyes for a moment. He knew that explosion. He knew the cost. When he opened them again, there was no anger left. Only cold understanding. "You used our own weight against us," he said slowly. Elena nodded. "You forgot something important." "What?" he asked. "Humans adapt fast." Outside, the pirate ship struggled to stabilize. One of its engines was gone. Fire and debris floated around it, but it was still alive. Smaller weapon systems turned toward Horizon Dawn again. "They are not done," Malik warned. Elena made a quick decision. "Prepare emergency transmission." She stepped in front of a recording panel. The pirate captain watched her closely. The red recording light turned on. Elena spoke clearly and calmly. "To the pirate vessel attacking this cargo ship. Your captain is alive and in our control. Your engine is damaged. If you continue this attack, we will open the airlock and send him back to you without a suit." She paused. "This is your only warning." The message was sent directly on open frequency. Silence followed. Everyone in the room waited. The pirate captain said nothing, but he knew his crew. They respected strength. They followed power. And right now, power had changed. Outside, the pirate ship stopped charging its weapons. Its smaller guns powered down slowly. Malik let out a long breath. "They are pulling back," he said. The damaged pirate ship began to move away, using its remaining engines. It did not fire again. It did not send more boarding teams. It simply retreated into the darkness of space. Inside Horizon Dawn, the alarms slowly quieted. Emergency lights returned to normal white. Crew members leaned against walls, tired but alive. Elena turned off the recording panel and faced the pirate captain. "It is over," she said. He looked at her with something close to respect. "You protected your ship well." "We protected our people," she replied. Medical staff entered the room and checked injured crew members. 2 humans had broken arms. One had a deep cut on his shoulder, but they were alive. The pirate captain looked around at them. "You are traitors," he said again, softer this time. "Yes," Elena answered, "but we do not surrender our home." The control room window showed the pirate ship becoming smaller in the distance. It did not return. It did not send threats. It had learned its lesson. Malik turned in his chair. "Engines are stable for slow travel. We can reach the nearest colony in 6 hours." Elena nodded. "Good. Send full report to Trade Command." She walked toward the pirate captain one last time. "You will stand trial at the colony," she said calmly. He did not argue. He only gave a small nod. The battle was finished. But the story of what happened inside Horizon Dawn would travel far beyond this sector. Pirates would speak of the cargo ship that fought back, of narrow corridors that became traps, of humans who preferred brutal close combat instead of surrender. As the damaged but proud cargo ship slowly moved towards safety, one truth had become clear in the silent darkness of space. Boarding a human vessel was no longer considered easy. It was considered dangerous, and the galaxy would remember that lesson. Horizon Dawn moved slowly through space, its engines weak but steady. Small pieces of burned metal still floated near the hull. Inside the ship, the crew worked quietly. Some repaired damaged panels. Some cleaned blood from the corridors. The battle was over, but the weight of it remained in the air. In a secured holding room near the center of the ship, the pirate captain sat locked to a reinforced chair. Heavy magnetic cuffs held his arms and legs in place. His damaged armor had been removed. Now he wore a simple restraint suit given by the humans. Without his armor, he looked older and more tired. The door opened, and Captain Elena stepped inside. She stood a few steps away from him, calm as always. "Your ship has jumped a warp," she said. "They will not return." The pirate captain nodded slowly. "They know when to retreat." Elena crossed her arms. "You lost many men today." He looked down for a moment. "Yes." There was no anger in his voice now, only acceptance. "You did not expect resistance," Elena continued. "No," he admitted. "Cargo ships usually surrender." Elena's eyes stayed focused on him. "Then tell me something. Why do pirates always believe humans are weak?" The captain thought for a moment before answering. "Because humans trade. You build farms. You carry supplies. You speak of peace." He looked up at her. "Warrior species show their strength. Humans hide it." Elena gave a small nod. "That is your mistake." She turned to leave, but he spoke again. "What will happen to me?" She stopped at the door. "You will face justice at the nearest colony. You attack civilians. That has consequences." He gave a small, dry laugh. "Justice? Pirates do not believe in justice." Elena looked back at him. "Humans do." She left the room, and the door sealed shut with a heavy click. On the bridge, Malik and the navigator studied the long-range sensors. The nearest human colony was still hours away. "We are receiving scattered pirate signals," the navigator said. "News of this fight is spreading." Malik smiled slightly. "Good. Let them hear." In the cargo bay, crew members repaired broken containers. One young loader, named Tomas, sat on a crate, holding his injured arm while the medic wrapped it. "I never thought I would fight pirates with a wrench," Tomas said with a weak smile. The medic laughed softly. "You did well." Tomas looked around at the damaged bay. "Do you think they will come back one day?" The medic paused before answering. "Maybe, but next time, they will remember this ship." Back in the control room, Elena recorded a final report for Trade Command. Her voice was steady and clear. "Pirate boarding attempt neutralized. Enemy captain captured. Ship damaged but operational. Crew alive." She paused for a moment before adding, "Recommend new advisory across outer routes. All cargo vessels should prepare close-quarters defense training." She ended the report and leaned back in her chair. For the first time since the attack, she allowed herself a slow breath. The battle had been brutal, fast, personal, but it proved something important. Humans did not need large warships to defend themselves. They needed planning, teamwork, and the will to stand their ground. Hours later, the lights of the distant colony appeared on the main screen. A small fleet of patrol ships moved out to escort Horizon Dawn safely inside the defense zone. Relief spread across the crew. They had made it. In the holding room, the pirate captain felt the change in engine vibration as the ship slowed down. He understood they had reached safe space. The door opened again, and two human security officers entered. "It is time," one of them said. They unlocked the chair restraints and secured his hands with stronger cuffs. As they walked him through the corridors, he saw the damage his attack had caused. Burn marks on walls, broken panels, crew members working silently. None of them shouted at him. None tried to strike him. They simply watched him pass with calm eyes. That silence felt heavier than anger. At the main airlock, colony security officers waited to receive him. Before stepping through, the pirate captain turned slightly toward Elena, who stood nearby. "You fought well," he said quietly. "So did your crew." Elena met his eyes. "Remember this when you face your people." He gave a slow nod. "They will hear of this." The airlock door opened, and bright white light from the colony station filled the corridor. The pirate captain stepped through and disappeared into custody. The door closed behind him. Inside Horizon Dawn, the crew stood together in the main cargo bay. They were tired, injured, but alive. Elena looked at each of them. "You did not run," she said. "You did not surrender. You protected this ship and each other." No loud cheers followed, just quiet pride. They understood what they had done. Outside, news of the failed pirate raid began to travel through hidden channels and dark markets. The story grew quickly. Pirates whispered about a human cargo ship that turned its own hulls into traps, about narrow corridors filled with shadows, about brutal close combat where rifles were useless. Some pirates refused to believe it. Others remembered the missing squads and damaged ship. Fear spreads faster than truth in space. And this story carried both. As night cycle began on Horizon Dawn, repairs continued. The ship would need time before it could return to full service. But its reputation had already changed. It was no longer just a simple freighter carrying supplies. It was a symbol, a warning. Deep in space, where pirates once hunted easy prey, a new understanding had formed. Humans might travel as traders. They might speak of peace. But if boarded, if cornered inside their own steel walls, they would not beg. They would fight, and they would win. Horizon Dawn remained docked at the colony station for several days. Repair crews moved in and out of the ship, fixing damaged hull plates and replacing burned wiring. From the outside, it looked like a wounded vessel slowly healing. From the inside, it felt different. The crew walked with quiet confidence. They had faced a pirate boarding party and survived. Not by luck, but by choice. The story of what happened spread quickly through the station. Dock workers whispered about it. Traders repeated the details in market halls. Security officers replayed the battle recordings in training rooms. A simple cargo ship had defeated a full pirate assault using nothing but planning, teamwork, and brutal close combat. In the main briefing hall of the colony, Captain Elena stood before trade officials and security commanders. A large screen behind her showed footage from inside Horizon Dawn during the battle. Narrow corridors, dark cargo bays, pirates struggling in tight spaces, humans moving with focus and control. They expected fear, Elena said calmly. They expected surrender. Instead, they found resistance. One of the officials leaned forward. You trained a civilian crew for combat? Elena shook her head slightly. I trained them for survival. There's a difference. She explained how they studied pirate attack patterns, how they turned ship's systems into tools, how they used gravity shifts, sealed doors, and simple equipment to control the fight. In close quarters, she said clearly, humans are extremely dangerous. The room stayed silent as the footage ended. The message was clear. This was not luck. It was strategy. Later that day, a secure transmission arrived from a distant sector. It was a captured pirate communication intercepted by colony intelligence. The message was simple. Avoid isolated human cargo vessels. Engagement risk high. Elena read the report in her private quarters and allowed herself a small smile. Fear had changed direction. Across the darker regions of space, pirate clans began to argue. Some leaders were angry that a boarding captain had been captured alive. Others were worried. The loss of 2 full squads and damage to a cruiser was not small. In secret meetings inside asteroid bases and hidden docks, one phrase repeated again and again. Do not board human ships. Back on Horizon Dawn, the crew gathered in the cargo bay for the first time since repairs were completed. The metal walls were polished again. The broken crates replaced. The ship looked normal, but everyone knew it was not the same. Malik leaned against a crate and looked at Captain Elena. Trade Command wants to install stronger weapon systems, he said. Elena shook her head slowly. No heavy guns. Tomas, his arm now healed, looked confused. Why not? Elena stepped forward so everyone could hear her. Because we are still traders. We carry food, medicine, tools, not war. She paused for a moment. But we will continue training. The crew nodded. They understood. Strength did not always come from bigger weapons. Sometimes it came from knowing your space better than your enemy. The next morning, Horizon Dawn prepared to depart from the colony station. Fresh supplies were loaded. New shield components installed. As the docking clamps released, Station Control sent a final message. Safe travels, Horizon Dawn. Your actions have changed outer sector policy. Elena replied simply, just doing our job. The ship slowly moved away from the bright lights of the colony and into open space once again. The stars stretched ahead in endless darkness. But something had shifted in that darkness. News of the failed pirate raid traveled beyond human space. Alien traders spoke of it with interest. Some species were surprised. Others nodded quietly, as if they always suspected humans were capable of such things. Reputation in space was powerful, and now humans carried a new one. Inside the bridge, the navigator checked their new route. Outer mining colonies again, he asked. Elena nodded. Yes, people still need supplies. Malik smiled slightly. And pirates. Elena looked at the wide starfield in front of them. If they come again, we are ready. Hours later, deep in an unmarked region of space, a damaged pirate cruiser drifted near an asteroid field. Repair crews worked silently on its broken engine. Inside its command room, the former second-in-command stared at a star map. A red marker blinked over human trade routes. Slowly, he deactivated it. Choose another sector, he ordered quietly. No one argued. Fear was not spoken openly among pirates, but it was understood. Horizon Dawn entered warp speed, stars stretching into long lines of light. The ship was still a simple cargo vessel. It still carried food and tools. But now it carried something else as well. A message. In the quiet hum of the engines, Captain Elena stood alone for a moment on the bridge. She remembered the narrow corridors filled with smoke, the close combat, the moment gravity vanished during her fight with the pirate captain. She knew this would not be the last danger they faced. Space was wide. Pirates were many, but so were humans. Adaptable, patient, relentless when cornered. She turned back to her crew, who were already focused on the next journey. Stay sharp, she said calmly. Outside, the ship disappeared into warp, leaving only silence behind. And somewhere in that silence, a new rule began to spread across the galaxy. You can attack a human colony. You can challenge a human fleet. But if you ever board a human cargo ship, step carefully. Because inside those narrow steel halls, in the tight shadows between cargo crates, humans do not fight from distance. They fight up close, and they do not lose.